share about the situation with Chansey?
Unfortunately, we kind of got the news that we anticipated, but unfortunately, Chauncey's going to be out for the season with a broken foot, so he'll have to go surgery that will put him out for the year. And tough blow for the young man. Obviously, he's got an incredible story. Obviously, a really brutal blow for our team too. So that is what it is. Rob is still, looks like a little ways away from being able to return. Hopefully maybe sometime around the holidays, maybe BJ Amit's, ready to return. So we're still going to be shorthanded. That is what it is.
Yeah. Is Jalen okay?
Ankle has been dealing with it, so he's kind of like getting him through practice and then getting him ready to play in the games. But I looked down the court, I think it was 8 minutes to go in the Santa Clara game, and I looked down and I saw him like limp and asking to come out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't make this up, and I was hoping it wasn't anything, but it was just the same ankle that's aggravated him, but he should be fine to play tomorrow.
How do you look at kind of what you do rotation-wise? Isaac, Langston, Kai, I bet.
Well, guys always want more minutes, right? So there's some guys that, are going to have to play close to 40. That's just sort of what it is, right now for us. And so guys like Cade and Croc and Isaac and Langston, Bobby, those guys are going to have to play major minutes for us. And we may make a little tweak to the lineup. We'll see how it goes. But, we're kind of in that 7-man rotation right now. That way, Kai Shinholster will have to play a much bigger role. It was encouraging to see how he played the other night against Santa Clara. Grayson, so 2 freshmen are going to get major opportunities to play more minutes. And hopefully it's going to be great for their growth, too.
When did Chansey hurt the foot?
My understanding too, I don't know if it was a couple years ago, he had, the same fracture and, put a screw in it. And sometimes, a couple weeks ago, he kind of had a re-aggravation of that. Was going to be able to play through it, but then obviously in the first couple minutes of the Stanford game the other night, just kind of broke it worse. And it's just at the point now where, it's the best thing. He needs to get it surgically repaired.
Now, obviously Indiana knows you might have a short bench of whoever you play. So I assume they're going to come at you, be physical, play on paint, and make you follow them if you can. Wear you out. You have to account for that whole kind of physical but finesse. You can't get in foul trouble. We need you for 40, that kind of.
It's a great question, Mac, because I think, if you don't physically engage and you don't play with toughness and physicality, it's going to be a long night against anybody, especially in the Big Ten. And I think there's ways you can play physical without fouling. I think it's being smart. I think you have to eliminate cheap fouls. There probably are situations where maybe a guy has 2 and maybe catches himself in a little bit of harm's way, and maybe you just can't stick your nose in there, that time and risk picking up a third. So there's going to be things like that we'll have to manage. But other teams, play short benches too, maybe not playing as many minutes as we'll ask some of these guys to play consistently. But yeah, those are things we're going to have to work through.
How have they come together just in terms of knowing each other, understanding each other? In this day and age that you guys are on steroids in terms of the number of new players and how quick you got to get it, coaching staff, all that. Do you feel like your team sees the game the same way? Do they have a culture where they trust each other, all those things that you want?
I think, for the to say that it's where we want it to be yet, no, but I think in the short period of time, I think these guys have really tried to buy in, and I think I've seen a great bit of buy-in from these guys. Obviously now things have changed, right? So the rotations and people you thought were going to play in certain roles, that's all kind of been changing now, so we're going to have to readjust that piece of it. But no, I think for the most part, these guys have done a really good job of figuring it out. But now we've got a whole other journey to figure out, coaches and players. Our charge now is to take this group and find out how can we be the best that we can be, with these guys. And we're not there yet. Other teams deal with injuries too. Of course it has an effect, but that's life, man. And so these guys are going to battle. They're going to respond. And I think you learn a lot about culture speak, Mike, is when things don't go well for you, that's when you really learn the most, right? You have a little bit of adversity. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your teammates, the people in your foxhole, and see how you're going to respond. And I thought, listen, the first half against Santa Clara, everything that could go wrong went wrong. We're not here there's no moral victories. But I will say this, I thought the guys regrouped at halftime and said, okay, this is what it is. This is how we need to play. And hopefully we're going to get a carryover for that tomorrow night.
you're a few years removed from it, but you understand that Thor was here, Isaac was here, Groves was here. That was it. Last year when they had a couple games where they stormed the court, and it was really good in here. Can you use that? Can you dangle that as a carrot to the current players, or is it hard to understand that until it happens?
I think it's probably hard to understand it till it happens, but I think the veteran guys that have been around even at other programs, they know what a home court can do. We were fortunate in the Mountain West. We had some great home courts. I mean, ours at Colorado State too, we had that place packed. It was a tough place to play. I know this from experience. When this place is humming, it's a really, really tough place to play. And that's our charge, right, is to build that again. And you get that home court. Sometimes you get the other team rattled. I think sometimes your own guys can have almost like an out-of-body experience, you know what I mean, with how they play. And we all know that. We felt that as fans. We felt that as coaches and players. And that's what we got to try to do here. And tomorrow we get our first opportunity in Big Ten play to do that.
How do you look at Indiana? It looks like a team that can really shoot it.
Yeah, boy, they're really impressive on film. I mean, they're good on both ends of the floor. I think they're really sound defensively, too. But offensively is where it really pops off the charts. I mean, the way they can space the floor and shoot the ball is really incredible. I mean, Darren's kid Tucker's he's a great shooter, but he's just a really, really crafty, heady player, scorer. The Wilkerson kid, number 3. I mean, those guys, they'll be pulling it from, you're 12 feet behind a three-point line, and they are in range. So they really do a great job of spreading you out, playing with each other. They've got great chemistry. And so, you can be in there, and then all of a sudden they can go on a 10-0 run as fast as you can imagine. So they're going to pose a huge challenge for us. We got to control what we can control. Got to be great transition defense. Got to take care of the ball. When we do get them to miss, we got to come up with it. We cannot give a team that has as much firepower as they do second and third opportunities.
Just a little bit more cerebral, but you've been around it now maybe long enough to know. Do you find that the fan bases and whatnot support uniforms, meaning there's so much transition and the kids are getting money that they never got before? Do you find that the fan base just wants to engage with a good product and a good team, and the NIL and the extra has an effect nationwide when you go play places?
I don't know that it's had an impact as far as fans, cheering on their teams. I think fans of the Gophers, of Indiana, of all these teams, they still love their university. They're going to cheer for their brand and their school. There's obviously more turnover on these rosters. It's hard maybe for a fan to see the same guy, playing for 4 years or 3 years. But I think fans just want to see a great product. They want to come out and cheer. They want to feel like their team has an opportunity to win every night when they come out to watch them play and spend their hard-earned money, you know what I mean, to get here, to park, to concessions, to pay to cheer you on. They want to see a great product. And they deserve that. That's what it is. It's not cheap to come, you know what I mean, to go do these things. And so it isn't like you want to win every night, but I think bigger than that, they want to see a team that battles, that plays the right way. They want to feel like their team has a chance to win every night. They go out and cheer them on. And I don't think that's too much to ask as a fan.
Niko, as a coach, when you look at other Big Ten coaches, obviously DeVries, some in Iowa, Buzz in Maryland, obviously some different mixed bags, some that had quite quick turnarounds. Buzz is going to have a tougher one as well. How do you kind of look at kind of how they're able to build it, what you might be able to take from them as they
I need to be careful how I answer that, but, there is a factor we could all probably, you know what I mean, understand like what that is too, is, some of it's resources too, and that. Every situation's different. I think, what I can rely on for me, the good news is this is my 4th head coaching job. Every one of them's been a similar situation, you know what I mean, as far as having to come in and kind of rebuild and rebrand it. So I've been there before. I know what that looks like. Again, every situation is unique. So I think it's really hard to compare one to the other. And I know that's what we do. Fans like to do it, but I think that's hard to do. And ours is unique to Indiana's. Indiana's is unique to Maryland's, to USC, to whatever that is. And so we just got to worry about ourselves, man. Not what anybody else is doing, but how do we get better with what we're doing right now? How do we get better with the players we bring in here? How do we get better at building our brand and all those things? So that's got to be our focus. We can't worry about what anyone else is doing. We got our own house to take care of.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Niko. Appreciate the time.
Yep.